2 months ago, I uploaded a video of a homemade powerhouse I built by recycling old notebook batteries. And it was so useful that I even used it once to recharge my car battery that had died because I didn't use it at all during this quarantine. So now what I did was combine it with a computer and make like a catastrophic computer, which turned out very good. Stay tuned to the video to see it. This project actually started when I got this computer, which is an HP 2740, very old, but it had an i5 and it was pretty good. What was really bad was the condition. It was nearly completely broken, but still functioning and learning. Honestly, for the price I paid, it was a great deal. I mean, I knew I was going to do something with this computer, so I bought it and thought, well, what if I combine it with the Powerhouse? That way I can give it a facelift and make it much nicer. I dismantled the entire computer and removed all the parts, since many of them were not working. And what I was interested in was keeping the motherboard, more than anything, the motherboard and the processor, and, well, the base plate and the screen. The screen was broken, but then I realized that it wasn't the screen that was broken, but rather the glass it had, which was actually the touch glass, because this was a touch notebook that could be converted into a tablet. I'm not sure exactly how it worked, but the touch feature was broken. Obviously, the touch function didn't work, and I wasn't going to buy the replacement part because it cost more than what I paid for the computer. So I decided to remove it. With a box cutter, I cut where the adhesive was. This was glued on. I also tried heating it, but it was much easier with the box cutter. Being careful, obviously, not to damage the screen. And that's how I removed the broken touchscreen, and I was left with the screen that was in excellent condition. It looked very good and was on fire. I tidied up the edges a bit, which were left with glue that simply came off by running my finger over it. And I already had the screen ready to continue with my project. Another thing this computer didn't have, and I suppose that's why they sold it to me, is that it didn't have a hard drive, and it doesn't use just any hard drive. It uses a male micro serial advanced technology attachment. That is, all the micro serial advanced technology attachment S are female. This one was male. The adapter was nowhere to be found, so I did what's shown in the video. Apologies. If it dries out too much, it will cause pain. But I soldered a cable to each pin of the micro serial advanced technology attachment. It was the only way I had to connect. I verified that everything was correct according to the micro serial advanced technology attachment pinout manual. And with a serial advanced technology attachment disc, I connected each pin to where it was supposed to go. This is not the most attractive way to connect a hard drive, but considering that this notebook cost me $2 and was almost useless, it's very good. I mean, as long as it works, great. Lastly, this also came with only 2 GB of RAM, and on the page, I saw that it could be extended to 8 GB. So I bought 2 modules of 4 GB each, used, which also turned out to be quite cheap, and I extended the memory to 8 GB. This is unrelated, but I found it amusing and included it in the video. Then I started to put it together in some container that I liked. I wanted to use a high-quality yellow, really nice box, but it was extremely expensive. I ended up finding a lower-quality plastic one, but was pleasantly surprised by how good it was. So I put it together there. I required 2 covers, one for the screen placement and another to conceal all the components. And I said, why am I going to cover them? If they surely look good, I mean, if they were seen. So I bought 2 acrylics that I actually sent with the measurement I needed, and they sent them wrong, so I had to cut them. But luckily, they were bigger and not smaller. And one acrylic was going to go below, where all the components, the battery, etc., were going to be. And the other one was going to be on top where the screen is. The batteries I demonstrated how to create in the video mentioned earlier will be listed below. The motherboard had to go on top, not on top of the acrylic, but above the batteries. So I placed the motherboard on top of the acrylic. I marked it, made holes, and those holes were the ones I used to attach the motherboard to the bottom part of the acrylic. I mean, it was going to be above the battery, but below the acrylic so that it's protected. And by the way, you were going to see what I was interested in. I mean, so that it could be seen, because I don't know, I liked being able to see all the components. I like transparent things that you can see while they work. I don't know, it's cool. What do I know? Above, I noticed the box and some plastic items, which I used. They measured 6 millimeters. So I sent an 1006 screw through a hole I made in the acrylic, and it turned out pretty well. The idea was to put the screen behind that acrylic, to also have a protection on the screen. But the flex that goes from the motherboard to the screen didn't fit, so I had to put it on the front side. It's not that either. It's not ideal and quite problematic. Not what I would have wanted. I secured the screen with 4 screws, 2 on top and 2 on the bottom, that simply apply pressure. They don't drill anything into the screen itself because it didn't have holes, but it stays well secured. The flex fits perfectly as seen here. So I couldn't have put it anywhere else. I initially added 2 buttons, but later decided to add 2 more for a total of 4 buttons. You'll see how it turned out. I bought these buttons that I find very nice because they are not just flashy buttons, but they also have an LED ring that lights up when they are on and turns off when they are off. They are very good for knowing the status, although it could be easily identified. But well, it's like it gives it a plus, I don't know. So as I said, I placed the battery that I took out of the Powerhouse I made on the bottom, which was actually disassembled to make way for this new one. And on the side, I had a space to put the inverter. The inverter is a 350 watt inverter. Just in case you want to buy the materials or the things I used, I will leave it in the description. And I started to put everything together, making sure that it closes well, that it looks neat, and most importantly, that it works. I didn't know whether to put the plug on the outside or the inside. On the outside, it would have been good because you don't have to open the briefcase to connect something. But then I felt it looked better on the inside, as I wanted to avoid things being visible from the outside. I mean, I wanted it to look like a regular black briefcase from the outside, that it wouldn't draw attention and that everything inside, let's say, is all concentrated there. To charge the battery, to charge the whole set, let's say, I used a 12 volt 5 amp transformer. Even though it's small, I can actually put one up to 38, but, well, it didn't seem to me that it's very useful, honestly, because I'm not in a hurry, because it charges. I mean, it's not something I use every day. Even with this 5 amps one, it takes less than a day to charge, so it's very good. The charging pin, which is visible from the outside, is the only thing I added. It's also very discreet, and I like how it looks because the inverter doesn't attract attention at all. I stuck it to the box with one of these, I think it's called cold welding. I don't know, but it stuck very well. And now I went to disassemble the battery. You'll see why, but the battery has the cells and the battery management system, which is the battery controller. As you can see, it has 4 inputs, one that marks 3V, another that marks between 5 and 7, and the other that marks between 10 and 11, thereabouts. If you saw the video I made about when I made the battery, you will know what each one corresponds to. And that's why I connected the wires to the outputs of my homemade battery. Why this? Because now our notebook's battery management system is going to monitor the charge level of our new battery. In short, we'll power the notebook with our large battery, while the notebook monitors the battery's charge and discharge. So that's very good. I secured the battery using Velcro and an aluminum bar. As mentioned earlier, I added 2 more push buttons there. One of them shows us the battery voltage in case we have the computer turned off and we want to know the voltage quickly, and the other one is responsible for turning on the battery. And that's how it ended up. It stayed on the outside, very discreet. You can't even tell what it is. And inside is our homemade apocalyptic computer. Let's say that I loved how it turned out. The truth is that it's really cool. You'll likely notice the keyboard is missing because it broke while I was using it. It is what it is. I didn't like it much either. It was that ugliest keyboard. Your dog died? So it doesn't matter. Later, I'm going to use a small wireless keyboard that fits in there, and that's it. As I told you before, the first button turns on the computer, the last one monitors the voltage, and in the middle, I left these two little things that are terminal blocks, which have positive and negative 12.5 directly to the battery. This is very useful, and we will talk about it later. And the second button powers the computer, and the third one turns it on or off. This is useful because the battery always consumes residual charge. So with the second button, we directly cut off all the current it can generate. What can the notebook consume? I will install Linux. Lubuntu seemed to me the most agile and the most beautiful of all the ones I saw. But I also left a pen drive, a USB, with a bootable copy of Windows. I mean, you put the pen drive in and Windows starts up in case I needed to use Windows at some point. I don't think so, but, well, just in case, it's there, hidden away. It works and holds up well. Videos in 1080p or 2000p, no problem. Considering its age, the hardware is somewhat surprising. It runs fast. It has everything that could be useful. And I left a couple of extra things, like, for example, the webcam or this keyboard light, which I thought was cool, whatever. As I told you before, I left that terminal block positive and negative, which goes straight to the battery. And what can this be useful for? Well, from there, we can power anything that requires 12 volts, like, for example, any product that is made for cars. From that terminal block, we can connect this wire that goes to the car's cigarette lighter socket and recharge the battery of our Powerhouse or our notebook. And also, it can be the other way around, from our notebook, power other products that we want at 12 volts. It not only has a 220V output, but also a 12V output. You're surely wondering about another crucial aspect, the battery life of this notebook. The label claims the full charge is 37 Wh, but that's false. The actual capacity is 560 W, but they list 37 W, since that matches the original battery's capacity. And the charge rate, which is what we are using, is 6 to 10 W. With that charge rate, we will be able to use the laptop on for about 62 hours, or 2.5 days approximately. And considering that a workday is 8 hours, we will be able to work uninterruptedly without having to recharge the laptop for more than a week. And, well, we also have our plug that is going to give us 220 volts, and it has a capacity to connect something up to 350 watts, and it has 560 watt-hours of capacity. However, something I enjoyed was connecting this speaker to 220V while playing music from the computer. And it sounds, the truth is very good, and it's great. For example, if you go camping or if you go to the beach or something like that. Well, I wouldn't take it to the beach, but camping or something like that, definitely yes. And, well, as I told you before, to charge it, we just plug a cable there into the outlet that I put, which is super discreet, and we connect it to 220. I believe it ended up being 1,000 times better than before. And the truth is, it's super more useful because now it has a computer that can serve us for a lot of projects. Leave in the comment box what you thought. Also, leave a like if you like it. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel for more videos of this style. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.